This is Alex Pereira, the UFC's light heavyweight champion, and this is what his calf kick looks like in UFC 5. As you can see, man, it's not the best, okay? It's just not the best. So I fixed it. Using motion capture of myself, I was able to capture his authentic leg kick. You know, how he actually does it in real life. But I didn't just stop there. I captured his movement, his punches, including his legendary left hook, and I even animated a full fight scene where he puts all his moves together against an opponent, so make sure you watch to the end to see that. In the meantime though, how the heck did I pull this off as a 33-year-old unk who's bad at computers and had absolutely no idea how to do any of this? Well, I'm so glad you asked. The first thing I needed was an Alex Pereira character model, and I had two options. I could either find one online and borrow it, or I could make my own. I searched online and I really couldn't find anything that I liked enough to borrow, so I decided to make my own, which meant I had to learn how to model in 3D. I purchased a 3D modeling course for Blender and started learning how to sculpt. I spent a couple of weeks studying this stuff and I was actually getting pretty decent, which is not surprising because I'm already decent at 2D art. But then I realized it's gonna take me probably months to learn how to sculpt a character, retopologize the character, texture it, rig it, etc. So I decided to look for a faster option. And that's when I discovered Character Creator 4, a 3D platform used to design and customize characters. It took me about a day to get the hang of it, and using their headshot plugin, I was able to upload a photo of Alex, and the software turned that into a fairly decent 3D base. And then from there, using the face and body sliders, I was able to fine-tune the features until I got something that sort of maybe looks like Alex. It wasn't perfect, but it got me pretty close. So I had a solution for the face and body morphs, but what about the tattoos? I mean, Alex has a crap ton of them. Well, that's when I had the brilliant idea of, what if I just took screenshots of Alex Pereira's tattoos in UFC 5, upload those screenshots to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to essentially recreate those images, those tattoos, and give them to me in a transparent background and just see if it works. And holy crap, it actually worked. All I had to do now was download the bare skin textures from CC4, load them into Procreate, and like a puzzle, I started placing the tattoos in their right place. I added some blemishes to the face and painted on some fake hair, and voila! We have a usable character model for Alex Pereira. So that's the easy part. Now I had to figure out how to make him move like himself. And that's where Move.ai comes in. With this technology, I don't really need an expensive motion capture suit because all I need is my phone's camera. I can record myself performing the moves, and the software turns the raw footage into a 3D file that I can then map onto the 3D model of Alex Pereira that I had already created. But of course, nothing is ever easy, because the first few times I try to actually map his moves to the character model in Blender, this is what happened. I tried everything to get this to work, bro. I swear to God. I even hired a tutor for Blender to help me figure it out, and I still couldn't get it to work. Like, I was so close to giving up, but then I came across a video on YouTube talking about another Reallusion software called iClone 8. This is essentially their dedicated animation software. I purchased it, and I spent the next few days watching tutorial after tutorial, and eventually, boys, I figured it out. It works. I can finally get Alex Pereira to perform the moves I want him to perform without the entire thing just breaking apart. The first thing I captured is his movement. I started with his idle, and I made sure to capture two different versions. One with his hands held high, and the second one with his hands held a little bit low. We usually see Alex start off fights with his hands held high, but then as the fight progresses and he gets more comfortable, he tends to drop his hands, and that's basically what I was going for. Then I captured his locomotion going forward, backwards, and side to side. When Alex is stalking his opponents while moving forward, he tends to keep his lead hand a bit higher with his palm open to hand fight, basically what he was doing before he dropped Jamal Hill with a left hook. And when he's trying to cover a lot of distance, like what he did in the start of his fight against Magomed Ankalaev, there's a clear gallop and bounce to each step that is so distinct to him. When he's moving side to side, you also notice this gallop, and he tends to square himself up to his opponents. Like, these are the sort of small but important details that makes a fighter feel authentic. In addition to his movements, I also captured his unique head movement style. He doesn't always keep his head off the center line when he's throwing punches, and he typically just prefers to move backwards and block. But when he does move his head, especially when he's trying to counter you, he tends to keep his hands low and bends at the knee as he evades. Now, before we continue, I need to reiterate that every single movement you guys are going to see in this video, including the fight scene you guys are going to watch later on, was 100% captured by me, with me as the performer, okay? I know earlier I mentioned move.ai, but all that tool really does is it gives animators the ability to capture movement without having to purchase an expensive, overpriced motion capture suit. You can literally just capture the movement with your phone camera. That's it. Everything else, from actually capturing the moves, to mapping the moves onto my 3D character, to cleaning up the motion capture and making sure everything fits, was 100% done by me, not AI, okay? All right. Let's move on. Next up is the jab. I captured his jab to the head and his jab to the body, and I captured two versions for each. A stationary version and a forward moving version, because these are typically what Alex goes for. Then I captured his straight punch. He throws them stationary and also while moving forward, and this one was tough because sometimes he throws it while standing more upright, and other times he loops it, almost like an overhand, so I just made sure I had both versions in. Now, I was already working on this project by the time he fought Magomed Ankalaev a second time, and after he hurt Ankalaev with that overhand right, I absolutely had to mocap it too. I captured his signature style of attacking the body with hooks, which we usually see when he has someone pinned against the cage and he's about to stop them. He keeps his upper body straight and rotates while keeping the elbows almost glued to his sides until he's about to make contact. And then using that same momentum, he torques his body in the opposite direction, digging into the body. Like, no one else in the UFC has this posture while attacking the body, and it's so freaking fun bringing this to life. Now it was time to capture his kicks, and the most important thing I have to keep in mind is that Alex barely rotates the hip when he's kicking, and this doesn't just apply to his leg kicks, it applies to every single kick that he throws in there. And yes, I know I didn't show you guys the left hook, his legendary left hook, but don't worry, I got it. I'm just gonna save that one for later, okay? So just make sure you keep watching for that and also for the fight scene. Anyways, I started off with his switch kick to the head, the same kick he used to drop Yuri Prohashka in their second fight before finishing him. Then I captured his rear roundhouse to the head, which most times when I see him throw this kick, it's almost like a slap. Like he's just concerned with making contact as opposed to putting real power into it. The fact that he barely rotates his hips also makes it really hard to read for his opponents, which is really what the biggest point is when Alex is kicking. He wants it to be very hard to read. He also likes to throw a really snappy front kick to the body. It's not exactly like a push kick per se. It's more like a jab with the ball of the foot right to the midsection, more similar to how Conor McGregor does it, so I made sure to capture that as well. I also did not forget about his roundhouse kicks to the body, even though he doesn't really use them as much as he uses his other kicks, and I also did forget about his wheel kick to the head, another technique which we've seen him use very sparingly in the UFC. And now it was time for his bread and butter, the calf kicks. And let me tell you guys, man, with Alex Pereira, you can get everything else wrong. You can be generic with everything else, with his other punches and stuff. But when it comes to his movement, when it comes to his left hook, and when it comes to his calf kicks, you gotta get that right. That is signature Alex Pereira. That's why I spent a lot of time studying these specifically to make sure that I get them right. For his calf kicks, there are 4 things I made sure to pay attention to. Number 1, there is almost no rotation of the hip, which means his lead foot does not turn to the outside like a regular leg kick. Number 2, he typically lowers his base a lot more than a regular leg kick when he's kicking. Number 3, he lands with the inside blade of the foot, which is why it's so easy to break your foot if you miss the calf and collide with the shin. And number 4, he loves to hide it behind his movement. For his inside calf kick, he almost always throws that while circling to his left. Like, I can count on one hand the amount of times I've seen him actually throw those stationary. So I just focused on the version that he favors the most. And now for the co-main event, his most popular weapon in there, the one he's used to end more fights than anything else, his legendary left hook. Let me tell you guys, man, it took a lot of freaking iterations, dude. I recorded this over and over again, and every single version I recorded was just wrong. There was always something wrong with it, right? And the thing about motion capture is, even though you can clean things up, like when you're done and during the edit, you can fix things and tweak things, the quality of the motion you get is going to depend on the version that you actually capture while you're recording yourself. So if you put shit in there, shit's gonna come out. And like, I just kept getting it wrong until I decided, you know what, man, what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna record this thing in slow motion. Like, I'm gonna just perform the move very slow, making sure I hit every single beat. It looks goofy as hell, but it really allows me to make sure that every part of the motion, my head is in the right spot, my left shoulder is in the right spot, my arm is in the right spot, my legs are in the right spot, my hips are moving properly, my upper body is moving properly. Every single beat, I made sure that I hit it, and it's easier to do that when you perform things in a very slow manner. And it also helped that I learned that Jackie Chan, the legendary Jackie Chan, a lot of times recorded his fight scenes in slow motion and then sped it up later. So I just did that, and when I did, I was able to get it. Now, I captured 3 different versions that we've seen him use in fights. 1, a stationary version like the one he used to stop Sean Strickland. Number 2, a forward moving version like the one he used to stop Jamal Hill. And the last one, a retreating version like the one he used to drop Yuri Prochazka in their second fight. Now, you guys can let me know how I did and where you see room for improvement. I will definitely work on that. But with that, now we are here for the main event. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the fight scene. Enjoy.